So what are we going to call this? Are we going to call this season 2?
I have no idea. I think it's almost
I think it warrants a season 2. That makes it look like we've been at it for a long time.
Maybe it's like Easter Monday. He rose again, seeing as I've not been here for 6 months.
Shut up and sit down.
I've been asked by a lot of people if you've been okay, if you're still alive.
The amount of conspiracy theories I've heard is mad for a Lego community.
Do you expect anything less?
Like I said, I think you messaged me, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, messaged me saying like, "Oh, I've heard you're getting rid of all your stuff and things," from like as if I've just decided to, go off and live in the woods or something.
Exactly.
But no, I am still alive. I'm all good. I've not died. I am still into Lego, which a lot of people think is something that's happened. But yeah, no, all good. How about you, mate?
I'm very good. I've been quiet too, though. Like, I haven't been as busy, probably around the time that you actually, maybe a bit after, to be fair. But we went into lockdown, man, and it's literally been 3 months now.
I think that's where my stuff's got busier, because obviously I work for an Australian company in the UK, which is a bit of a weird one. But so obviously they've got a bit more busier because they managed to do stuff on lockdown that we may not have been able to do whilst the company's been running at full steam. So it's gone very busy for me, which is kind of half the reason that I'm just not doing the YouTube content anymore. But I know what I hear these guys every day talking about lockdown. I feel your pain, man, because it's very different to when the UK did it.
Well, because it's strict here. Like, we've got a border around Auckland, and it's like they're talking now that the Christmas holiday is coming up, and of course that's summer for us. They're talking about like you'll only get out the border if you're double vaxxed and all this sort of stuff. It's not necessarily. Look, I'm 100% all about vaccinations and all that sort of stuff. I am vaccinated. I believe it and all that sort of stuff, but it's the divide that it's creating that I think is going to be the problem. And the knuckle draggers, as I might sort of refer to them as, is the 10%. That's it. That they are not going to probably get it done. Like that's it's.
Well, to be fair, in the UK, even though we're not like in lockdown anymore, it's basically the same. So we managed to eventually go to the Harry Potter theatre show the other week for Steph's birthday. And you had to show it's like an NHS app. You had to show that you were vaccinated. It comes up on there for the UK. So you can't go to places that aren't vaccinated. And weirdly, I had to do the same for Comic-Con as well, but that was like manic.
Is there any? Because this is my thing. Are you finding that there's any aggro around it, or is there any us and them? Is it that sort of thing? Because
I haven't heard
that's
that,
my concern. That's my concern.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything like that. But then again, all my friends are vaccinated, so it's I don't really hear it. And obviously, you basically live in your box, and then I still very rarely go out anyway. So
I think that's created a whole new culture, hasn't it? Really, people just I mean, we did a couple of Lego sort of shows, exhibitions, small ones at schools, and then when we between lockdowns, and it was noticeable. It was really noticeable that that the numbers weren't quite there, and I think it's just the confidence. I think it'll take.
Well, this is what was so mad with Comic-Con. So, because obviously I hadn't been to London in 2 years, even though I work there, but I haven't been there for like 2 years. And we went to Comic-Con because I haven't been for ages. Wanted to go to Comic-Con, see what it was like, and we did the early showing. Like, you can go slightly earlier, pay for like a premium thing, and when the doors opened for the normal, it was like cattle everywhere. It was just manic. We were just like, let's leave now. It's too much. You're just not used to it. Do you know what I mean? You're not used to it, and then you get a bit concerned of like, am I going to catch something or?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Do you have to? Is the masks mandated, and so you have to wear them inside or anything like that? No, so completely back to as it was.
Well, everyone had weird costumes and stuff on, didn't they? So it was just like, I wore my mask anyway inside because I always do it inside just to be safer. But because obviously there's that thing of like, even if it was mandated, I'm not sure because I just had it on anyway. But even if it was mandated, obviously you can take it off if you go for a drink or have food. So most people are just walking with a drink or something in their hand.
Right, and you remember I used to work in the West End of London. I'm sure you think what it's like. I mean, I'm sure it's not as busy as it was prior to these lockdowns and all that sort of stuff. But I could just imagine people out having a good time after a few drinks. They'd just be. I guarantee the streets are probably littered with dropped masks. It's just. I just can't imagine people would keep it up. It's just.
We did have to wear a mask to watch the Harry Potter thing, which was pretty intense because it's an actual it's 2 showings, like 3 hours each in one day. That was a bit because you're sitting on these
the whole time,
and you're sitting in these really bad seats. Like these seats were built for 200 years ago, and you're just you're not in the comfiest of positions. But the show itself was good, so that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly, they did a Lego collaboration.
Did they?
So. Yeah, I think it's just a short run, but basically they did. I think it's downstairs. They basically put a polybag on everyone's seat, and it's the one with Harry and the owl head with the wings open. It's that one. They must have basically had a load of them lying around.
Just give it to the next Harry Potter promotion that comes up. Ditch these things. Get rid of them.
Can't afford to give these to the recycling centre.
Yeah. It's not a good look for Harry.
But yeah, so they had a load of those. So that was quite cool. At least it was something.
But I hear that the collecting has sort of gone sideways for you as well. Though you've branched out on the collecting front, man. Tell me, because we've spoken about this, but people who listen to this, we don't always just talk about Lego. We talk about collecting other things as well. And you've gone quite deep, to put it mildly.
So yeah, when looking at it's about the Lego community as a whole a little bit. I find with the Lego channels a lot of the time you're very there's not many communities and things that are based around one IP, one brand, if that makes sense. So even if you went to Mega Bloks or Mega Constructs, it's it's fake Lego, even though it's not now, but people consider it that way. And I always just thought it was a very weird thing to just be into one brand. And so I just started watching other toy stuff, and it just hit me with nostalgia, realizing that the stuff that I was into, I don't know why, there's something in the root of my brain that I didn't remember these things that I had. And one of them was the kind of Ghostbusters stuff. I was mad into that with the Firehouse stuff. And then weirdly, I wasn't old enough, but my friend, his uncle, collected the Star Wars kind of figures, the very original Star Wars ones.
Yeah.
And
those are the last ones I had,
I used to trade them with my friend on the the playground because I wanted them, and you couldn't physically buy them. And so I started collecting those again as well, because they did some of the retro collection ones, and I've bought a couple on eBay. You can maybe see they are in this cabinet right here. But other than that, it's been more so I've got a couple of the McFarlane 6-inch. They're the Star Wars Black Series. They're that, but for Batman. So I have a couple of those to go with my Batman. So everything else is Batman, except for you can probably see an orange SpongeBob SquarePants thing there. But that's still my Batman Lego stuff. But I was just kind of just adding where I feel that Lego miss out a little bit, if you get what I mean. So I hear just some things that they do stuff, and then you're like, oh, but wouldn't lightsabers be cool, or wouldn't this be cool? Well, you can just go to somewhere else to get it instead of having just a Lego room. It was more of a geek den now. But I mean, to be honest, it's still 90% Lego.
Predominantly Lego.
It's basically this cabinet here and this cabinet here that aren't Lego. That's sadly, you can just see a blob of color.
Yep.
That's about 50 Masters of the Universe figures. So.
It's funny how what colors stand out. We're talking bright orange and bright green here. Masters of the Universe.
Well, again, the very top. Oh, you can see it now. I've gone out.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Wow, look at that.
The top is that there is actually Mega Constructs Masters of the Universe. So that's where it got me into it, because I went from Lego, loving Masters of the Universe, and I was like, oh, I used to have this as a kid, so I bought a load of the Origins stuff. But
do you remember? I was just thinking about that Kenner, the Kenner Star Wars stuff. Do you remember the vehicles from the 80s? And they actually made vehicles up, didn't they?
Yes. So they made this weird
that orange Hoth sort of brown thing, wasn't it? That
there was loads. So the one that I remember was I can't remember what it's called, but it was basically a roller coaster seat and it had 2 wheels that came down, and you can push the wheels upwards and down. And it was like a pop-up thing, and it was really, but yeah, some of the vehicles kind of made, and then I think George did have a look over them, but
allowed them.
it was mainly due to the it was strange, because if anyone gets 10 minutes and they've got Netflix, watch the Toys That Made Us. They'd have a Star Wars one on the Kenner stuff, and basically what they were saying in that was that when Kenner, so basically no toy company wanted to touch Star Wars. How weird is that to think about that nowadays? But it was because they wanted the toys out like for Christmas time, and the film only came out in like April or something, so they didn't have long. Because as we know with Lego, it takes a lot of time to design the set and stuff. So basically, the only company was this random one called Kenner that no one even knew about, and they went to the set as they were finishing up the first movie, and they saw the Millennium Falcon and they saw the X-Wings, and they were like, "That's what kids want. They don't want action figures. They want sets that they can fly around."
Yeah.
So basically, they basically made those sets, or made ideas of how those sets would be, and based on that was then how big they decided the figure would be to fit in. Which is why the scale is actually called 3 3/4. It's a real weird.
Okay,
size.
Interesting. Yeah. I have seen this of that Toys That Made It. Man, they're great. They're great shows. Pretty much all of them. I mean, even the toys I didn't have, like I watched the shows.
Even the Barbie one's great.
But was it like, I think it's the Transformers one as well? How hack it is in the background. You know, these are things that we grew up with. That they bring on so much nostalgia, and it hasn't been ruined in any way by watching these things. And how last minute and the type of characters that were involved in the
it's a bit like
especially the He-Man one was the worst. The He-Man one was the worst. Yeah,
the He-Man one just reminded me. I don't know if you've got it in Australia, but we've got a program here called Apprentice, which I think it's called something else in America. And but it just reminded me of them going into a pitch room like The Apprentice. They just make it up as they go along.
I tell you though, on a side, there's something else I have started watching off the back of that is the Movies That Made Us. And I watched the Ghostbusters one. Was really interesting. That had to be thrown together in like 10 months from writing to out in the movies. Like
they do say a lot of these cult classic movies as well. They say like there's always these rumors that they were saved in the editing room, and I fully believe that with a lot of these movies. They would say Star Wars was saved in the editing room, like and you can tell.
But then again, how hack it was in the background, I mean, Ghostbusters was unfortunate because they had another actor who was meant to take Murray's role. It was meant to be Murray. What's his name? Venkman. But same with Aliens. Aliens was the other one that I watched. My God, there was the Hicks, the main character in that, was a different dude until he got caught in London with a bag of drugs. And got marched off. He got marched off. He thought he was just going to get a slap on the wrist. No, he was arrested, and then they basically fired him, and they got this other dude in who was obviously in Terminator as well. So and that was like halfway through doing it. So it was all thrown.
It's not like it's not like in this day and age where you could maybe like green screen a bit of it.
Exactly. So all the shots apparently from behind are still the old actor. But in shots in front are Hicks, as the actor.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, and that's one of my favorite movies. And it was just that whole. I guess maybe it was the attitude around that sort of early to mid 80s.
So bringing it back round to Lego, actually talking about the movies that made us. I've seen there's a Home Alone one that they've just brought out for that. I haven't seen it yet, but I know Steph wants to watch that. And
the new Home Alone?
No, so they've done the Movies That Made Us, Home Alone.
They've done it. Yes, that's on the new series. Sorry.
But then I was going to say, I did see that Disney Plus have now done a new Home Alone thing, which, what are your thoughts on that?
I was really concerned, and some people sort of laughed at me, but I think the concern was warranted because we knew that the Home Alone set was coming out, and I wonder if it was going to be a new. Would they push it towards the new version or the new movie?
It has actually surprised me set that price. And I know people say, it's got a good variety of minifigures. I am surprised that they hadn't maybe put a couple of the new characters in, because it looks like it's the same kind of I don't know if it is the same house, but it looks like it's the same style of American house. And you would have thought maybe, then people might want it for the new one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it depends on who you're targeting it at. Where you're targeting it at, us, the people who watch the originals, or whether they're going to target it at the kids who are probably going to watch the new one. I don't know.
But as I've seen the set, because obviously I've seen the reveal of that one, that it looks like each room is basically part of the movie. So I see how they could make it probably harder to tie it in with the new one, because they've got Michael Jordan on the train set, and,
exactly,
the ironing board, and stuff like that. So I can see why it would basically. I think it would. Really
what do you think? What do you think of the set? What do you think of the set, though?
It's all right.
Yeah, doesn't do it for you. I think it's cool.
I mean,
really like it,
it's a house, so it's a house.
But I don't know. I quite like the look of it. I actually quite like the look of it.
I'm not saying that I don't like the look of it. I think it is cool, but it is a house, if that makes sense. And I think for Lego City Builders, which again people think that I still do that, I don't do that anymore. I think
that's exactly. I've got it with the view of a city, and having it on a street in the city. So you can probably hear bangs outside. It's obviously the 5th of November, and fireworks are going off all around me.
We had that last night actually here, even though it was the 4th here. So
if you're hearing bangs, that's what it is. But no, I for the city side of things, because I got the Simpsons house and I've got a few others like that. It's to me it would fit in a nice street of noteworthy houses.
I would be interested to know what the sale rate of it is, because I think they've done something quite daring, and I have to actually give Lego kudos for this, which I often don't do. But I'm a new person. I'm going to be nice towards Lego. And
we've only just got started, mate. We've got plenty to talk about.
So what I think that they've done well here, where the likes of Sesame Street they didn't, was they basically compromised on the set with Sesame Street, and it was too small, but they had to fit it into a £90 kind of price bracket, which I completely get. I understand for people buying it, but not for hardcore Lego fans that want something that's really accurate. Whereas at the Home Alone set, I don't see there's much difference to the original one. They've really kept to the original idea set, and it's massive and it's expensive. And I think that's great. And I think that's really brave of Lego, although the fact that they released so many sets is absolutely insane. But I wonder how many people are actually going to buy it. That's my thing, because it's great to see. I've watched lots of videos on looking at it. Obviously, my missus, Steph, loves Christmas. We were on about getting this set a long time ago. I asked her the other day, I said, do you want this set? I'll happily buy it. And she's like, no, I don't want it. It's too big. She said, the problem with it is that it's a set that said it's too big. Where would we put it? It doesn't go with her Winter Village stuff, which she loves, because it's just not the same proportions. And also, she's like, either we're going to have to rebuild it every year, put it away and rebuild it, which is great. But when you've got all the decorations to put up in the house, it's another thing. It's just
going to be a chore. It's going to be a chore.
Or how are you going to put that in the attic? Because it's not something that you'd want out all year, because it's Christmas set, unless you convert it and put it in the city or something. So I said to her, that's fine. But we have bought the Santa's, what's it called? Santa's Visit, is it? She loves that one. So
is that the
we haven't built that yet, but yeah.
What about the reindeer battle pack?
We've not bought that yet, just because we do have a sleigh already from an older set. But I think when we get them out, I think we'll end up picking that up. I think we'll pop into. I might pop there Black Friday maybe to get a set we might talk about later. So I might pick it up then. But we didn't buy it straight away. I think we bought the Santa's Village straight away, because we have had in the past where they sell out the Christmas set.
And they're usually gone before Christmas, and anyone who's late to the party,
Well, we did it last year with the Christmas wreath. That Christmas wreath was sold out. No one could get the Christmas wreaths last year, and everyone was like, "Oh, they've cancelled them," and they seem to be back this year. It just looked like they obviously had low stock of it. So,
I know someone who's bought one, in the last couple of weeks. So, interesting. But you were just saying there as well, whether you sets that you think are not going to sell or that. What do you think of the Titanic? Like that is it's a boat, and it's a boat that, it belongs in
or is it a ship? Is it a ship actually?
How do you define the difference between a boat and a ship?
It's a cruise ship.
It's a cruise ship.
I actually think it's a very beautiful set. I'm going to give pros again to Lego. I think it's very beautiful. I think it's well made.
This is meant to be like a real pessimistic, podcast, man. We're normally really, digging in. Look at you, all zen.
I'm in my zen.
This is well. People are just listening to this as well. Probably can't see this, but there's this light of God shining on him as well.
I'm growing my hair out as well. I'm growing my hair out.
You'll be walking on water next.
Walking on Lego bricks.
Yeah. But no, the Titanic though, it's what is it? Was it 6.5 foot long or something? I can't remember. How long is it? It's like 1.3 meters long or something.
It was, I think we said we laughed because I actually said I think it's almost as tall as Steph, because she's not very tall, and I think it is almost as tall as she is. But it is a very good looking set, I have to say. Again, I don't know who's going to buy it. I really don't, because it's so ridiculously big that it's just who's going to. I mean, especially
you'd have to have somewhere to put it and leave it from there. It's not a set you pull out, take apart, and rebuild again later.
I understand Americans have massive houses, and that's great, but realistically, Lego comes from is it Denmark that Lego's from? They got the tiniest houses in the world. That thing probably wouldn't fit through the door.
It's true.
And I'm the same. We have this attic. This is where I store my Lego. I don't think the TV that I have, is as long as that Titanic. I couldn't even put it on top of the TV or something. Or we don't have a mantelpiece because we have a log burner. Unless I want to see the thing melt slowly.
You're not going to put it. That could be interesting. See how long it lasts. Hey, it's just kind of Boeing.
So does it sink? Does it melt? It's have a time lapse of it.
But what about the other point? The other side, the flip side of this as well. The fact that it's the Titanic. It is, to me, it's a fairly grim sort of thing to have on display. I mean, hey, I appreciate what it is as a boat. I appreciate the historic sort of thing. But I mean, I was saying this to someone recently as well, and they kind of agreed with me. It's not that long ago that we probably knew people who
were on it,
or not necessarily on it, but may have remembered it, or and things like that. We're not that far removed from. I think
it's an interesting one, because I think that
is it too soon?
It's obviously a very historical event. It's probably the most famous ship of all time. I get why they've done it, because basically, if you look, quite interestingly, again going back to mega constructs and things, I think it's very interestingly that this year they seem to be filling in the gaps that mega constructs has filled. Because if you didn't know, Titanic's been done by them a long time ago. So is the Fender Stratocaster. And they do seem to be filling in these gaps a little bit of maybe we should do this. Or, because the Titanic, I know a lot of people are saying, have they stolen an idea set? I don't think so. It's a Titanic. It's a big ship.
Well, no, it's going to be done. But the same could be said, the guitar was an ideas thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a competition.
Do you know what's wrong with that guitar, man? And this is why I wouldn't have chosen it for the idea.
It's not playable.
Well, it's not just that, but it just needed to be literally double the size, like a half-size guitar that would have looked great. It's just this dinky little thing. It looks like I don't know.
They spent all the money on making another body for it that you could change.
I know. Why not take those pieces and just make it a bit
Those
bigger?
Pieces will get lost straight away because you're not going to bother building two versions.
Well, it's a dust collector. If you're just going to, it's.
And I think the Stratocaster is a cool idea. I actually was being a bit serious when I said I wish it was playable, in terms of the same that the grand piano was playable, because I think it could form this almost sub theme of musical instruments where you could be you just press down on the bottom bit and it would do ding 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 ding, or you could So,
it has an app thing in it, that you go past a sensor, you run your hand past a sensor and it plays a tune.
They have those sensors, they have them actually with the power up. You can actually do that to move trains.
The boost ones as well.
Something like that would have been pretty cool, especially since it's got an amp as well. It has that kind of that look to it.
The amp looks better than the guitar to me.
The amp's the best bit, I think the amp looks good with the Mega Constructs guitar.
It's true, actually. It
just move them together.
That is true.
But
speaking of the ideas, and music as well, I quite like that new one that's been picked, the jazz band or whatever it was called, the jazz quartet. That to me is just a really grown up, nice piece of art. The way it's I don't know. I think it's just
That's
really
what you
well
think
done.
now. I reckon that it'll be.
Oh wait, I went to Lego butcher it. Yeah, of course.
I reckon it'll be. I reckon it'll just be a 6-figure battle pack.
4 Duplo figs. I don't know, man. Yeah, they could really butcher that one up. I don't know. It's just so nice, clean, aesthetically. It looks really good as it is the way at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's quite funny actually with the idea stuff, because there was a lot of cool ideas again this time that they haven't gone through, obviously for licensing or some other reason. And I just think it's funny that I saw like the massive community around going, "Oh, Lego, they're at this fantastic company, like they finally done The Office," and it's like, no, they've realised now that these
how many submissions have they had?
So they've gone, well, we'll do it, because realistically, I think that's got to the point now where it shouldn't have been an idea set. We've got a Friends licensing, we've got Seinfeld, we've got the what's the other set called? I don't want to say it wrong.
The Queer Eye set.
Queer Eye, yeah. I didn't want to say it wrong because I don't want to offend anybody. The Queer Eye for the Straight Guy set, we've got that as well. So it's obvious they would do The Office. They've done The Big Bang Theory as well.
Exactly, and there's that again. That's a fairly green sort of theme that they can find.
And it's been a long time coming. I think it would have been cooler to have had something out of the stuff that they had there, to be honest, and then just you had The Office as one that they were going to do anyway. So, but I get it. I'm still waiting for my Zelda sets.
It's true. Hey, what did you think of that? Because again, man, it's been so long since we've talked. It's a long time between drinks. What about that cube?
Oh, the cube of death. Well,
the yellow cube.
I've got one already, thanks, and this one's smaller. It's on my desk, so I'm more than happy with that. I think, to be honest, I don't know who Lego are talking to at Nintendo, but that set's wrong. As a Nintendo fan, that set's wrong. I don't even remember there being a question mark in Mario 64. Was there a question mark in Mario 64? I don't know.
From my little bit of research that I did, it's. I guess it's called research. I mean, it wouldn't be called research if we were researching vaccinations, looking up Google, but
let me Google that.
It's the same source. That's where half these people get the vaccination information from. But no, from the I came across an exclamation mark and an orange cube as far as Mario 64 goes. But
I'm not too sure on that, because obviously Mario got these assets they've used, throughout the years, and that's fine. But the Mario 64 thing, to me, it looks, when you're buying an 18 plus set, or how I think of it, and I think Ryan may have said this as well, but Ryan won't listen to this anyway, so he won't quote me on it. But usually for an 18 plus set, you want it to display nice. So like it's not a back to tank, but the meditation chamber, the Darth Vader one. I think that's where some people are a little bit iffy on it, because it's got weird, like you can see the techniques at the back, so it might not look good.
It's not quite finished.
Yeah, and that's what you want with an 18 plus set. You want it to look as good as possible for that scale of what you're representing. Now, with that cube, it doesn't look good closed or open. Let's be honest. As a display piece, it's like I said, just a giant yellow block with a question mark on it, where this actually looks better. It doesn't work anymore, but I used to hit this and it would glide up and do the coin noise. But with
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, way cooler. I need to put batteries in it. But at the same point, like that one, it's massive. And then I feel when you flip it over, it just looks like a load of mess. I get what they're doing with the levels, but it doesn't look right, does it? It's like, oh, there's some little printed pieces here that's supposed to represent this. It doesn't represent it, though, does it? It looks rubbish. And I think what would have made me buy that
looks rubbish. Chris, bricking it, 2021. That's quite him on this one.
It just doesn't. I just think it looks rubbish. I'm not gonna hide it. And sadly, I think what would have been cool with that is if you'd have got Mario, Luigi, and Princess Peach minifigures. Just even though they're not the scale of it, like we've had with the Hogwarts Castle and stuff. Just having them on a little plaque, that would have made it for me. I would have gone, I'll buy that.
Absolutely, yeah. But okay. This brings me around to something that I've been wanting to discuss with you about, because I've had it put to me by a couple of people.
Okay.
Because I've moaned about the Adidas shoe. Funnily enough, I bought that.
I know. I saw.
It's down there.
I disowned you.
I'm and I'm a shoe collector. So I was a shoe collector. Why don't I like that? I come from the music game, but I didn't like the Fender. I love video games. Of course, I've played video games all my life. I've played, Nintendo. I've played Segas. I've played PlayStations, you know, all that sort of stuff, but I don't like the Mario stuff. So people are saying to me, hang on a second, these sets are not directed at you, you know, and they're directed to get new people into collecting Lego. They're not for the Lego collector. And I'm like, hang on a second. If they're not directed at someone like me, why wouldn't they be? They should, you know, there's your crossover. I should be the ideal customer. I should be the one that goes, yes, you know.
Yeah, I have to correct people there anyway on terms of that. I don't believe that the Mario sets were made for us. The Super Mario sets, they're made for children to play and do all that kind of stuff. That's absolutely fine. Completely.
Yeah, the Super Mario stuff for sure.
However, they then put the Super Mario NES system under the same thing. Now, I'm 35 years old. Yeah, I'm showing my age now saying this. And I didn't have a Nintendo Entertainment System. I had a SNES. That was my era. So the NES is actually aimed at people even older than me.
My age.
Well, there you go. So that's what
I'm saying. It didn't interest me.
Exactly. So then that to me, and then another real annoyance for me, and I bought it anyway because I'm into Mario. But then it was like, but then you can buy the Mario to put on the top. But you've said that Mario is not aimed at me. Now I've got to buy that Mario in order to finish the set. It seems counterproductive. You know, now you've made me buy a starter pack because you can't buy Mario separately. So now I've got a load of excess stuff I don't want because you want me basically to then start buying that system. And so it's very contradictory. Now, same with this cube of death, or I mean, don't know what this is. I mean, hopefully this isn't on store shelves.
You're hoping
I'm hoping they use this as a seat for someone or something. I don't know. It's a shambles. Let's be honest. It's awful. But let's be honest again. Going back to it, it's Mario 64. That's what it's labeled at. Super Mario 64. Now, I'm sorry, but that's my era. 100% the N64. I was the GoldenEye king. I've completed Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. I had the N64 when it was out. I was one of those people that before the internet existed, where the only way you could beat people on the computer is actually by having them over at your house, spending £200 on controllers so you can fit 4 of them into the console, and then playing Super Smash Bros. With your 6 characters that you have, and they all have really bad textures, and then feeling like a badass. That N64 thing is a shambles. It's awful set. I have to be honest. It's just a really bad set. It has no nostalgia to me, which is what it should be hitting, the nostalgia. I mean, I saw, again, spoilers here, so maybe skip 2 minutes if you don't want to know the spoilers of the set that's been out for a week. But I watched the Tia Caterino's video of it, and he's like, and there's this special secret, and you open this little thing, and it's like, look, you can see the final boss. It's like, it's a little ball and something that looks nothing like Bowser. Like, it's in a black room. Wow, my mind is blown. It's like
and it's not a secret anymore. The guy that got the set before it even hit the shelves has told everyone what's going on.
But
you know, like,
it's just like it just looks awful. If you want to get a buildable Bowser, I actually think the Bowser from Bowser's Castle, the Lego set, is actually the best one you're going to get. But I just think it just looks awful. It's just so bad.
But okay. Look, I'm going to be totally honest. When it comes to Fender guitars, I've never been a Fender. I've never been a Fender guy. I'm a Gibson guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've never liked Fenders. I'm not a big guy. I don't have big hands, so the necks are too flat. I find they ache when I play them for too long. So Gibson's nice round neck. I've always been a Gibson guy. Anyway, so maybe that was why I was never going to like the Fender. But when it comes to the Adidas shoe, you know, and I'm just putting this in the same bracket as someone who is essentially, like, I've never gone through. It's probably been maybe since I was 13, 14. Was probably the last time I didn't have an Adidas Superstar shoe in the closet. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've got 2 pairs here. Yeah. Okay, 1 pair is fairly knackered, but I've always had a pair of Superstars. So to sort of say, hey, this is not directed at you. This is directed to get, you know, other shoe fans into the game, not a shoe fan who's already a Lego collector, because you're not the target market. It's to get
that should have literally been like.
I should have been bread and butter. That should have been easy money for them. It was like,
hey, fish in a barrel, really. Shooting fish in a barrel. You're literally like both the things.
But I had it put to me, and I've had it put to me by a couple of people now, like no uncertain term. Hey, this is not directed at you. This is directed at sneaker collectors who are coming over into, you know, or trying to get them into Lego. And it's like, well Surely, I don't know. It kind of bothered, and it's kind of sat with me for a while. Now that we've talked about these sets a little bit more, and we've decided the same thing, like we are someone that should essentially really like, or maybe we're too critical of it. Is that what the problem is? That
well, like I said, I've taken a step back from Lego. I've tried to be less critical, which is why I'm trying to have an open mind with these things. But I have to be honest, that Mario set is rubbish. All my friends, we're the same age group. I've got friends that aren't into Lego. All my friends that are in RL don't like Lego. I've got one that's into Lego. And they all think it looks rubbish. They're like, what's that supposed to be? They're laughing at it when I showed them the video. They're like, it's laughable. We were joking about how bad that set was. Like, whereas actually I've shown them the Titanic and they have gone, oh, that's cool. Like, that's cool. Because it is ridiculous.
Hey, it's cool, set. But hey,
cool.
Would you like it in your living room for the next?
Well, yeah, that's another
10 years to justify paying for it. Not really. Not really. I think it was Doc Samson who said it belongs in the foyer of a museum. That's where it belongs.
It definitely does. It definitely does. And you can imagine that actually at a Titanic museum or something.
Exactly. Just any maritime museum. It would look great. It would be awesome.
But I do disagree with what people are saying if they're saying that you aren't the clientele for the shoes, because Lego, I'm going to tell this to people as a marketing thing in total in a business. You don't make one thing for one person and that's it. That's not the way it goes. If you just make one set for one person, you're skewing what your company's worth in terms of brand value, because they're not going to buy anything else.
It's too niche.
Not the way it goes. You're not going to get someone who's massively into the Adidas shoes to buy the set. They might buy it because they're massively into Adidas. They're not going to buy anything else. They're not going to go and go, oh, I quite fancy a Diagon Alley actually to go with that. No, they're not. They're not going to do that at all, are they? They're going to buy that one thing that goes.
Well, maybe if Lego strikes lightning in a bottle twice, they might be Mario fans too. Have never seen a Lego cube before and decide to splash out on that.
And I think this is the thing. You can't do it based on those things. You have to have this core audience that are going to buy no matter what you throw at them and moan about it. Because if you don't have consistent sales results of what you're going to be getting each year. It's the same with like Star Wars. That's why Lego was revived. And I'll always say revived by Star Wars, because no matter what, you're going to have Star Wars fans. Now, I've always said this. I'm a Star Wars fan over a Lego fan, massively. Star Wars got me into Lego, not the other way around. And so if Lego lost the license, like I've said before, I would move over to the other company. It's just, that's why I've got like, well, I can't quite see it on this thing. I've got all the minifigures here. That's why I'm collecting the minifigures. It's part of, it's Star Wars. Whereas if, like I said, if they stop selling Star Wars, then people wouldn't buy it. And it's the same thing with these idea sets. You're going to get people that buy, they're just into that, if that makes sense. They're just into the Office, or they're just into Friends, which is why they decided to expand the Friends stuff, because it was such a big IP.
Yeah. I mean, there is going to be that person who gets that set because they think it's cool. But what I'm saying is, just don't discount your average Lego fan who just happens to have a crossover in hobbies. I mean, Lego is certainly not my only hobby or my only vice, if you like. As we're discovering with yourself as well. It's
exactly, and I get why they do these items that are going to bring extra people in to buy that product. But you still need those main people. That's almost like saying, the new iPhones come out, and then someone goes, "Oh, it's not for you, Mr. iPhone 12 owner. It's for new people coming over to buy the phone." It's not for the person that's in the ecosystem that has everything. That's not for you. You can't say if you like it or not. That's complete rubbish. Of course, it's for me, but they also want to get more people. They want to get. I
have to admit the latest iPhone is literally the first one that I haven't bought, because I buy them every year. You as well. So
I bought this. Yeah.
I'm still on last year's one. But
that's what I should have done. That's what I should have done. But again, that's my point proven though. That's what they. So it's like saying, like, so this, for instance, the Galaxy. This is the Fold thing or whatever. It wasn't for non-Samsung people. It's for everybody. But they're trying to tempt iPhone users over as well. And that's what all businesses are doing. So you can't say that it's not aimed at you. Of course it is. It's aimed at as many people as they want. That's the whole point. And if you're into that hobby, then obviously you are a potential buyer.
Well, it's the Venn diagram, isn't it? It's the crossover of sections. And there's Richard in the middle. It's like it's
Well, it's like, for instance, like I haven't been buying. I've tried to not buy for quite a while. Lego. I'm still looking into it because I'm just trying to not spend as much of that one on that one hobby. But you know what? That 8080 looks absolutely fantastic. So it's like,
I was gonna say, what? No, well, let's backtrack a little bit. We'll come on to the 8080. But what about the gunship? Because I don't think we even discussed the gunship. You know, you've had time to stomach everything that's happened with this gunship now, and that's what it's probably been regurgitated a few times, and then
I'm probably going to get hate here because I actually align more with Lego, I think, than most people on this. Because really? I'm kind of this, well, as in, so obviously Lego is a company, so they should do their research. But I'm kind of the same, where like I wouldn't have noticed that the badge was different on the Republic gunship.
Yeah, but hang on a second. But if it went through you, the wife, the boss, and the boss's boss, because you'd think that something like that would have had to have gone through.
I completely agree. What I mean is that I probably have just as much of an opinion on the prequels as Lego does. I don't think fair cool. But you know, but obviously Lego should, as a company, they're selling a 350 quid set to, you know, people who really wanted this gunship. I'm not those people. Again, I'm into Star Wars, but I don't really like the prequels that much. And realistically, I don't consider this a prequel ship because it literally shows up for 5 seconds with Yoda in it, and then they fight. It's more a Clone Wars set, isn't it? It's what it more is. Why people like it. I just think it's hilarious looking at it from the outside. I just feel like how bad.
You've got no interest in it, yeah. I suppose, yeah.
Just how bad can they get it wrong? Like to say stuff like, "Oh, minifigures are an extra."
Right. You can double up. Ryan was on a stream this morning and he was talking about the AT-AT and he said something about where you get 9 extra minifigs with the AT-AT. I thought that was quite funny.
It's just hilarious.
I'm a fan. I love the look of the gunship, so I still really want. I still really want to get it. I mean, to be honest, I don't care about all the other stuff. I couldn't really care about the minifigs. I care about what the, you know, about the lack of. I mean, we're talking about a big company that should get these things right. You know,
biggest toy company in the world.
The biggest toy company in the world that should. Yeah, I mean, we are quite often compare things to Apple here. You'd never see an Apple box go out to the wild with last year's phone number on it. You know, like you're not going to get the 13 go out with iPhone 12 written on it, and people would just go, "Oh, it just wouldn't happen. It just simply wouldn't happen." So to me, okay, they've got more products, they've got a bigger production line, they've got more things on the go at once. I appreciate that, but to get that wrong was pretty.
I think also you have to.
I mean, I'm not even nitpicking because I don't care if I got a box with the wrong logo on it. I don't really care. But what I'm just saying is, from a company that big, with surely that. I mean.
I think also
the quality control at all levels in that company is pretty poor because the AT-AT has been leaked. The leaks as well.
Well, you know, I think also in terms of, if you think about it, Apple's very different because they own that product. So this isn't even their IP. It's actually owned obviously by Disney, and they are letting. So it doesn't look good for them either. If you get what I mean? Because like Disney will be looking at them going,
"Oh, that's another set of eyes that." Should have had a look at the
very true.
Before it went to the
they can't read them anymore, do they, about Star Wars? So.
Yeah, it's true. So. But anyway, excuse me. The AT-AT.
Yes.
I'm coughing because I just thought about the price then. I thought about the price. Oh, Jesus.
Mate, that's the problem. My birthday falls on Black Friday. It's the
nice.
same, like.
That's just so I'm rather convenient.
Well, I've already had my phone for my birthday. I had it as an early thing, but I'm like, I need to find money for this somehow. Like, it is good. It is good. And what's annoying me is that people keep saying that it's the only way to get that Luke's lightsaber.
You've got Yoda's one, haven't you? Yeah, see,
I've got all the helmets.
I'm not invested in that, so I haven't got the first one.
I've got all the helmets. So I need that in my collection to go with it. Like, and I know they're going to just go for a fortune on eBay. So I don't know what to do.
Reassuringly expensive.
I don't even care about the box, to be honest.
I don't care about the box, but I mean that AT-AT. I don't know if the size, the dimensions of the actual model have been leaked. I can't remember. I'm sure people probably find out from the box how tall it is, but the thing looks big, eh? It looks big, man.
So when I saw the original leaked picture of the outside, I thought it was fake because it didn't look that big. to me. It didn't look that big, and I wasn't really counting studs or anything. I just thought, oh, it doesn't look as big as everyone's making out. But then when the inside's leaked and it's got like 2 stories and figures, you know, there's like 30 chairs inside, and you're like, wow, okay, this is pretty big.
It's pretty big.
This is pretty awesome.
Sorry, Karen.
I was just going to say, I had a little bit of inferiority complex, which, as an older man, you do get this quite a lot. And I saw this picture, and I felt very demasculated as I went upstairs and saw my little AT-AT.
Yes, it looks like a puppy in comparison.
And I just saw his head looked a little bit more droopy down, and he looked like he'd been out in the cold a bit too long, if you know what I'm saying.
Those skinny little legs, you know, spindly little things. Yeah.
And I just thought, I need this to reinstate my masculinity.
I tell you now, I started realizing sort of immediately from that first picture as well. I did a video. that first picture got leaked. All right. And it went quiet for about half an hour. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do a video on it. So I made a video, you know, just as you do. Oh, look, check this out. 2 minutes for a few views, you know. Literally, as soon as I uploaded it and went back in, the interior pictures came out. And I was like,
wow.
Oh, okay. So I did a short on that. But I started realizing how big it was from that first picture. When you looked at the discs at the top of the legs, those discs have got to be like 8 or 10 studs wide, and I was just like, "Whoa, that's at least 2 times, you know, twice the size of the ones."
It's going to be as big as my dog, isn't it?
It's probably be as big as my dog.
You can see these videos of people walking an AT-AT on a skateboard.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. But what do you think of that feature though for the legs? Obviously, they've got something in there to make it more sturdy. Screwdriver. I'm intrigued to know what they've done there.
I mean, I think it's not something that you will always change. I think it's something that, because it's a model, they're going to sell it as a model this time, that it's just so you can put it in a position and then leave it. I think that's what they're doing with it.
I don't think it's going to be screws neither. I got a funny feeling it's just going to be...
It's going to be Lego.
No, it's going to be something that just, you know, turns once and just locks or something like that.
Right. I think it'd be a Lego screwdriver, though. I don't think it's real.
Yeah, well, it fits down and behind the plaque, doesn't it? That looks like from the pictures. Yeah, 9 minifigs.
Yeah.
For a UCS set, I thought that was a little bit overkill, to be honest.
Though, they're not good minifigs, though, are they? This was what I was going to say about, and I know what Ryan said about the fact that, well, they're the best figs to go in the set. I agree with that. But we've had these figs so many times that I don't care. I've got about 12 different variations of a snowtrooper.
I was going to say, it's the first time we're getting a snowtrooper commander. Apparently, I couldn't tell the difference.
Well, we don't even know what it is. It's going to have a slight different. It'll have 3 badges on here. So
exactly. Right? And the difference with Veers was I saw the dual molded legs. That was the other thing. But
I wonder if they're exclusive or not. I think Veers will have to have some sort of arm printing, because if it's just the dual molded legs, I'm sure you can get them anywhere.
Well, yeah, they come with the Star Destroyer. The dark grey with the black boots.
I mean, it's cool that we've got a better Veers, definitely. It'd be cool if we had a better Luke Skywalker. I don't think we will. Like if we had an arm printed X-wing, you know,
the Luke Skywalkers we've been getting over the last few years are pretty highly detailed, aren't they? You know, there's nothing wrong with those.
We'd have to have side printing or something to really level him up, I think, or a new helmet mold, but I don't see there's much else they can put in. And maybe the commander has like a badge on his arm, so he's got an arm printing on. That would be quite cool. But yeah, I always knew the minifigures weren't going to be great for the AT-AT, because it's the AT-AT that we've had them. We're getting a battle pack next year with these figures. So
I think it's a bit of a weird one, this AT-AT having that many figures, because it's not a play set. So why would you want more than one type of figure?
This is what I said. This is what I said to you. If you look back, well, I don't know whether we said it on this podcast, but before, I said the gunship should have been accurate to minifigures and then hold more figures. That's what I said it should have been. And that's what this AT-AT is. It's just like how I said, my favorite UCS sets are the Millennium Falcon because it fits the figs in. Slave One.
It's minifig scale, isn't it? It's minifig scale.
The Slave One because it fits Boba Fett in, and Mos Eisley Cantina because it kind of looks like it could be roughly that size. And that's why this is so cool. This is why it appealed to me, because it's not just this ridiculous out-of-scale model and then the figs are just put on the front plaque. So I think with this, it looks interesting. I don't think this time the figures fit on the stand. Because usually you have like a
no. It's more like the Falcon. It's just got the separate stand, and of course it comes with a bunch of mini. I mean,
and I think
that was the benchmark because the Falcon that we did get a bunch of minifigs with it. So you could argue, hey, is it a playset? You know,
well,
there's no stand for them. But
the Super Star Destroyer only came with 2 figs, so that was the same price.
Oh, the Star Destroyer. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but the price of this AT-AT is the same as the Falcon, isn't it?
So it was a Super Star Destroyer in the UK.
The Star Destroyer or the Super Star Destroyer?
The Star Destroyer, the last one.
Yeah, the last one. Was that the same price in the UK, was it?
Yeah.
That was cheaper here. That was cheaper here by
America as well. Like $100 cheaper in America, but it was the same price in the UK. It made it very unappealing to buy, to be honest, because it was
BrickStage Pass was saying that he reckons it's $100 or 100 quid too expensive.
I'd agree with that.
You'd agree with that?
But the Millennium Falcon was as well. That's why I waited until it was $550 and then I bought it. That's why I got it on. Well, I didn't get it. My family bought it me, but they're very expensive and they take up a lot of space. That's the problem with them.
Well, the gunship as well. The wingspan on that gunship is pretty big.
I can't wait to see their industrial style setup pictures that they do, because I love how they have these sets in these like houses.
Oh, the lifestyle pictures.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think they're hilarious because I always think like, but you're just selling one set. You know, like the Jogger Gardens, and it's beautiful and it's really nice New York loft. It's like whoever lives in that house is not interested in your product. I'll tell you that for one.
It's way too tiny. It's way too tiny.
But like, I just think it's funny. Where are they going to put this AT-AT? Like, I just don't think it's going to look good in a house setting, if that makes sense.
I've got the perfect spot for it. So that is the least of my worries. I've got this spot in my house next to the fireplace. There's a gap that's between the kitchen that goes. Yeah. Anyway, I'll send you a photo at some point. But
I've got a perfect place where I'm going to put mine, and hopefully that screwdriver will be perfect for it. So I have the Millennium Falcon on its side.
Yeah,
like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the front 2 legs over the Millennium Falcon,
the back 2
on the floor, so it looks like it's riding it. Done.
Or just take the legs off and put them on the Falcon. See how that looks.
But no, I do actually have a space down here if I was going to get it. But to me, I completely agree with what BrickScene Pass is saying. Actually, I would, if the lightsaber wasn't included, or if there was a way you could get the lightsaber with buying other Star Wars sets, that's what I'm going to do on Black Friday, because I know this set's going to be out for a while, and next year I'll be 100 quid off, and that's when I'll probably pick it up, because I don't need to get it day one. That's my thinking around it.
I haven't bought any of the, like I said, I haven't bought the gunship yet. I'm waiting for it to go to my buddy's toy store where I'll get the discount.
I bought none of the latest Star Wars stuff, even though that's the only thing I'm collecting now, because I'm just waiting till, because I feel like, so I said this to you before, because I'm more of a minifig collector than a set collector, and most of the minifigs I feel will show up in Boba Fett's sets next year, the Book of Boba Fett. So
there's some interesting rumors around that set, isn't there? Brick built Rancor, someone was saying.
That sounds rubbish, though.
That also sounds like they're giving something away for the Book of Boba Fett as well. So don't know if that's a spoiler, but yeah. The other thing that dropped was it yesterday? I think it was the day before. Someone leaked the Hoth Scout Trooper.
Oh, interesting.
Check it out. It was Republic stuff.
Is that in the battle pack? Is that in the battle pack then?
Yeah. So that's coming. As with that battle pack. So that'll be interesting.
I think, to be honest, if I got the AT-AT, I'd definitely get a couple of the battle packs just to fill up the seats, because I think how it would be with the side off.
That's
have
exactly
the side
why
off and have them. Yeah.
That the head with a cutaway at the head looks really cool, where you can see.
I don't know if you can do that or not, though. I don't
know, but it does look good. It would be a cool thing to be able to do.
Yeah,
this is the thing. Is like I just don't see it as a play set. So I don't see the reason to have X number of snowtroopers with it, unless you were able to take those panels off and sort of have that cross section and see what's going, the workings inside, if you like,
I truly believe that those snowtroopers aren't exclusive.
I think you got the last playset ATM.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be the same as that. I mean, I don't know. I might be.
That's what I mean. Like, to be honest, I've got all those. That's why I knew it wasn't going to be a great set, because that set had pretty decent figures, because it had. It had Fears in it. It had the pilots, and also like the AT-AT driver is also in the what's it called packs. the little ships, microfighters.
Oh yes, of course, yes.
It's the same figure, so we've had him plenty of times, and I don't see they're going to.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, well, that's the thing is like they've just changed them to those figs. Are they going to change them again for the UCS?
The only thing I can see
unless they got more Hoth sets coming out, that they'll go back to sort of the less detailed figures. I don't know.
Well, they do this with Boba Fett a lot, and this is what I think might happen, because obviously Boba Fett they make him a lot of times. He's quite an expensive fig anyway, and then on the more expensive sets, they just give him a bit of arm printing and maybe a better cape. So that's what I think will be with these 8080 drivers. I think they may have arm printing or side detailing to make them slightly different. So
to make someone like you who collects minifigs go, dang.
Well, this is going back to that gunship when they said like minifigures are an extra, and we don't want to put these desirable figures in this set, but you have though, because there's still 2 exclusive figures. So to a collector, I'm still going to spend £40 a piece to get those 2 figures. So you have done that.
And I think as well, because there's only 2 minifigs in that gunship,
the price of the figures are higher.
The price of the figures are higher. You look at the Star Destroyer for an example of that. Yeah. Those 2 minifigs are worth a ton. But also, I think less people are probably part that set out or part out, and I don't know, because more Bricklink sellers might sort of want to get more of those sets if there was a ton of minifigs, because over time they'll appreciate in value probably quicker than than the parts of the set, the exclusive parts of the set anyway.
That's happening already. I mean, look at the likes of the Light Cruiser set, the Moff Gideon's one. Those Dark Troopers or whatever are worth a fortune, because people want to build armies of them.
There's a battle pack of that apparently coming too, isn't there? So
that's why I'm waiting.
Interesting. All right. I think we'll call it that, eh?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything. I think we've caught up with. Well, we haven't caught up with the 90 sets or whatever that have been released since I took a.
That's the other thing. I'll tell you what. We'll go through the other 86 next time.
We've got plenty in the back.
I'll send you a list.
God.
We'll go through it. Hey, but lovely to see your face again, man. It's lovely to get back into this. It's good. So
definitely.
This will be a surprise for the people. So after
the people who are asking, I have not got rid of any of my figures, and Finch Dallow is still here.
Actually, we'll talk after this, because I've just gone through all my minifigs, and I've got a ton of single Star Wars figs for you. So
interesting, actually, quickly as well, before Comic-Con as well, quite interesting if people on this are still interested in my collection. At Comic-Con, there's a guy selling random figures, and I managed to get the original Greedo in mint condition with arm printing.
Nice.
For, I think it was £20. So pretty decent price.
Nice.
So quite happy.
He didn't see you coming.
He didn't. I was there. He might have known who I was if he was watching YouTube Lego a year ago.
If he knew that you were collecting and trying to get every single one, he would have doubled your price, mate. He would have doubled his price.
I was wearing my Porg outfit, so he didn't notice.
What did that one come with? That Greedo?
I believe it came with the original Mos Eisley set, like Cantina little set. He's not super expensive. The ones that are really expensive are this guy from that era. Similar is like Watto, because he only came in one set, which was the Junkyard set, and they've never made it since.
Hang on a second. Show me that one.
So there you go.
That's the original one. Yeah, I've got the one that came with the Sith. That was a Maul ship, and he's got his eyes rubbed out for some reason. Yeah, he's missing an eye.
I think a lot of these actually. Yeah, I think a lot of those missed eye pieces. There's actually 2 versions of him. This version, he has different coloured hands. Which again, if you're a sad loser like me, you want all of them. But I've only got the 2 out of the 3 Wattos. But yeah. So like I said, the collection is still going ahead with my Star Wars figures, but it's just mainly Star Wars now. That's what I'm doing. Star Wars and a bit of Batman, because he doesn't like Batman. But
I've been getting into a bit of Batman recently as well. I was just gonna. That was the other thing I was going to cover, but I'll just say it briefly. That new Batmobile, the Tumbler has absolutely knocked the price out of the old one. I saw someone in the local marketplace here trying to sell off the old one, mint sealed and all that sort of stuff. And I think he was asking retail, and he couldn't get it.
God.
Yeah,
that's crazy, because it does have the exclusive Joker in it. Is the Batman the same, or I'm not sure if the Batman's the same or not.
I'm not too sure.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because people talk about Lego as an investment and all this. Well, it's only an investment up to a point where they may re-release the set. Like
and as soon as something gets leaked, the investors have to sell immediately. Otherwise, once people start finding out about it, they're not going to buy the old one.
It works both ways, because that's exactly what happened in Ninjago Gardens. As soon as they leaked, I bought the original 2 because I knew that they would go up in price and I'd want them.
And they did.
And they did. Yeah. They
had
literally
foreseen
doubled.
it.
I had foreseen. I had felt it. Strange, I had not.
Right. Cheers, bruv.
See y'all later.
Take care.